Yep, not good. Neglect. This deck is in terrible shape, but the good news, the silver lining and all that, is that leaves plenty of room for improvement. So we're gonna see if we can get this done. We gotta get it cleaned up. We gotta get a coat of stain on it. And the goal here is to do that with enough money left over to go buy some hot dogs and enough time left over to actually grill them on our deck and, you know, enjoy it. All right, let's make it better. First things first, we've got to get it at least swept off, blown off, whatever your mode of removing debris is. Yep, that's probably been there since Christmas. It's almost time for it to go back in. Everything is neatly just piled up right off the edge of the deck. The sun is breaking through. This means the gods are looking favorably on our attempt to restart the cycle of neglect on this deck. Let's continue. We gotta get all these leaves and all this stuff out. You got two weapons of choice here. We can use a leaf blower if we want to annoy the neighbors, or we can use a broom if we actually want to be effective. Think leaf blower? Thanks to the dog's help, the deck is now somewhat cleaner. Let's go through and take a look at what we're working with and figure out how we're gonna approach it. Right here, we've got some old wood and some rot, and that's because leaves pile up here and it just holds water like a wet sponge. And when you get wood wet and don't let it dry, well, this happens. We're mostly gonna ignore it. Water is your greatest enemy when it comes to wood decks. This area of the deck gets a lot of sun, actually. Sun is your biggest problem when it comes to decks. If you put your eyeballs right here, we've got a lot of like extra worn area because A, it's straight out the door, and B, this is where the grill was, so kind of pace around right here. Here, we've got the north side of the deck. That's the side not facing the equator, not facing the sun. So it has every kind of mildew and fungus and whatever kind of green stuff you got growing on there. You got every kind of problem you can have. So we've got sun damage, we've got water damage, we've got traffic damage, we've got mildew, and we're going to treat them all exactly the same way. Real talk. This is an older deck. It's not in great shape. We're gonna approach it as such. When we're done, it's not gonna be new. Let's meter our expectations. It will indeed be better. Here's the plan. We're gonna clean the snot out of it. We're gonna use a special back-saving cleaning solution. We're gonna pressure wash it, and we're gonna put a coat of semi-transparent oil-based stain on it. Now, if you're getting talked into these deck restore products, look here, Barry Bonds, it's not going to suddenly make this new. It's kind of a lie. You're going to put a thick coat of something over the top of not great wood. It's going to start to chip and peel and flake. Your candy coating on your rotten deck is not actually making your deck restored. It's in fact just trying to hide the problem in a way that it obviously looks like you're trying to hide the problem. However, if we can get this clean enough to get down to just the wood and not the dirt and stuff sitting on top of the wood, and we apply an oil-based stain, the stain will soak into the wood and preserve the wood in its state for a couple of years. We're also going to use a semi-transparent, meaning it's got some color in it, which will sort of even all of this out. Will it be totally even? No, I've got 3 different layers of stain, 7 different kinds of wear, 2 different colors. But I think letting the deck show a little bit of its character and a little bit of its age while being protected and getting a new coat of better looking stain is going to look a lot better than putting deck restore over the top. All right, for today's deck cleaning process, we're going to use 2 things: bleach and trisodium phosphate. This has some like degreasing kind of properties, and this has some bleaching properties. We're gonna mix it in this bucket with water. Now look here, Bill Nye the Science Guy, be careful what you mix with bleach. These two things are okay together. Do not mix ammonia and bleach, or well, really anything you're not sure of and bleach. Use the internet to your advantage. Seriously. All right, so the question is how much of each, right? Sure. Well, we're gonna just, you know, consult the old bleach label here. High strength is 1 to 5. Well, this isn't even a gallon, and I got a 5-gallon do it all right bucket here. So even if I dump this whole thing in to our 5-gallon bucket and filled it with water, we're pretty much in the range of the high strength. Now it also gives an application chart. So we're just gonna kind of, you know, deck and fencing, stain surfaces. It says use a lot. So we can use anywhere between all of it and just a little bit of it. And we're gonna be okay for what we're doing. This says 8 ounces per gallon of water for light cleaning and 16 ounces per gallon of water for heavy cleaning. So basically we can use a little bit or all of it. It's gonna be okay either way. I wouldn't do this in clothes that you really care about, by the way. So in addition to this, we're gonna be diluting it even further because we're gonna wet the deck down before we apply this. That way it'll kind of run through that water and apply more evenly. Less likely to get streaks or dots or splatter or whatever. Quick word about pressure washers. This is a critical tool into doing a job like this. You can buy one, you can rent one. If you have a buddy like me, you can borrow one. And if you do that, just be sure to be like, hey man, you got any gas for that thing before I go? If you're gonna do it, just do it, just leach hard. This number, you don't really have to understand it, but think about it this way. The higher the number, the less work you have to do. You may think to yourself, well, I don't need more than 2,900 PSI to like clean stuff. That'll just blow a hole in things. Well, kind of, but you have to think about it like this. Once you start fanning it out, the higher this number, the bigger your fan is, right? Like, do you want to mow your lawn 3 inches at a time, or do you want to mow it with the widest thing you can cut at a time? You know what I'm saying? All right, we've got our Backsaver 3000 solution in here, and I've got a regular garden sprayer. Now that's my normal method of application, but when you really get into it, it doesn't apply as much as you want, as fast as you want. So I was at the store the other day and I saw this and I thought, well, if you just sop it on. I'm not trying to scrub here, I'm just trying to apply. Yeah, I'm feeling good about that. All right, gang, you can actually see some improvements. All we've done to get to this point is let the clean and juice just marinate and soak in and kill all the algae and the mildew and the stuff. Here's a little tip. If you cohabitate, or you got a roommate or a pal or a spouse or a significant other, this part is actually pretty satisfying. So, you know, if you're kind of savvy about it, you can probably huckleberry somebody into doing this particular part for you. We're flying solo today, so there'll be no huckleberrying. Pressure washed. Basically at this point, the way I'm looking at it is, if the bleach and the pressure washing didn't take it off, I feel comfortable standing right over it. Now we are going to use an oil-based stain, which means this has to dry completely because, well, you know, oil and water don't mix. But that's also why we're using oil, because rain is water. She's drying off pretty good here, but you can already see how much better it looks just from this alone. However, our more rotten spots have absorbed more water, which makes sense, but that's really important for us to get stain down in there which is oil-based. So we're gonna let this dry overnight. A lot of this was done with our Back Saver 3000 liquid deck cleaner. Use whatever kind you want. I'm just telling you, it saves a lot of pressure washing work. Reason number 248 to have a truck. We've got some new IKEA furniture on the way for our patio, so this old reclaimed wood table can go right where it belongs, the dump. Just kidding, man. I love that table. No, but seriously, the truck does make pretty good storage. I didn't have to lift it down. That thing weighs a ton. So we just kind of scooted her right across. We'll drive her out in the yard if she gets in the way. Now take a look. It is very inconsistent. This deck is also a different age than this deck. They've always been coated with oil-based stain because that's, in my opinion, the right thing to use. And we'll look at that here in a second. I am using a semi-transparent stain, meaning it's got some solids in it, it's got some pigment. It will even this out a little bit, but we are not going to get a consistent finish. That is for sure. I know that. It's going to be huge on Etsy and Pinterest. But seriously, if you're looking for a very consistent brand new deck look, your options are kind of limited. You can either strip everything with a stripper, but that will not hide the age of the wood if you have different aged woods, or you can, you know, replace all your deck boards, which this will have to happen eventually here, but we've got at least a couple seasons left with these bad boys. We're going to embrace the inconsistency and just go right over the various versions of stain that are already here and the various levels of decay. Take a look at this for upcoming project land. This is what paint does when it starts to fail. It sits right on top of the wood and then fails by peeling. If you do like a deck restore or a deck paint or a totally solid whatever, it's gonna sit right on top of your wood. This is actually a pressure treated sill that I built, and this is exactly what would happen even with a high quality surface product on the deck, and probably would not take long in front of the door where we all exit the house and cross the deck. So anyway, that's why I use the oil-based deck stains, because they soak in, and they'll soak in even into the rotten stuff. They won't just sit right on top of it waiting to flake off. So we clean the deck because if we apply the stain or any other product that you want on top of the deck and there is dirt between the product and the deck, well, your product is just going to stick to the dirt, and then when the dirt inevitably gets scuffed off, it's going to take your expensive products with you. I know that this has always been oil, so I have no issues laying another coat of oil-based stain on top of it. If you're not sure what you've got, like if you just bought a house and you inherited it, you might want to do a little test run. Just do a little corner piece. Other than that, I save myself the process of sanding or chemical stripping because there's nothing that's going to make this wood brand new, so we are going to embrace its character. It's all right, little woods. I like you just the way you are. We're at the Railings, and we're going to break that out because Railings are their own little devil. You know what I mean? They have nooks and crannies, and a lot of them. And there is no good way to do railings that I'm aware of. Brush takes forever. Some people say use a sprayer, but you know, if you're using an oil-based stain, which is what I am going to use and highly recommend, cleaning the sprayer is going to take even longer than using a brush. So we're not even going to deal with that because I wouldn't clean it, and that sprayer would become, you know, a one-time use disposable. So there I was in the big box home improvement store, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this. I know what you're thinking. That's sharp, high fashion, and you're not wrong. But you know what else? This might be the most revolutionary rail staining tool ever invented, and it was $5. I'm putting on 2 pairs of latex gloves because A, they're guaranteed to rip in about 0.3 seconds. I actually think this is genius. I really want it to work. I mean, doesn't get simpler than that. How are we doing? Look at you. All right, that picked up a lot of stain, actually more than I thought it would. Holy smokes. Are you seeing this? I can already tell the thing to do is apply it with this and then come back with a rag and just get the excess off. It's me trying to get the excess off that's like really destroying the old power glove here. Not kind of a win, it's for sure a win. Beats the pants off a brush. I absolutely love this thing. 100% approved. $5. That is the easiest time I've ever had of a railing. All right, here's what we're working with. Behr Premium Semi-Transparent Waterproofing Stain and Sealer. Most important 2 words. Penetrating oil is what we're doing here. Now, there are a lot of ways to apply it. We're just gonna use this feller here, and we'll talk about that as we go. But the important thing here is Home Depot also sells a Behr product in the exact same color that's water-based. And if you grab 1 can of this and 1 can of that, you may not notice the lack of that word right there. And suddenly you've got oil and water you're gonna try to mix in your mixing thing. So that's not good. Be really careful. One difference I did notice was that in the 5 gallons, the metal cans, you know, the scary looking ones that look like something Christopher Lloyd would have had in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, are the oil-based ones. The plastic ones seem to be the water-based ones. My favorite way to tell for sure is cleanup. If it says mineral spirits or paint thinner, you have an oil-based product. If it says soap and water, you have a water-based product. Do you want a deck stain that can be cleaned up with soap and water? I don't. Sun's going down, but stuff is getting done. There you have it. This is like 2.5 hours, maybe. Really? Not that big a deal. And I think it's looking pretty swell. It is obviously inconsistent. We had inconsistent wood to start, but it's got character. It, you know, we'll review in the daylight too. But as for right now, I think this looks a million times better than any kind of deck restore product that'll just kind of put a candy coating on your deck until it starts to peel off in big sheets. This is just what it is. It's oil, color, and wood. Still see the grain. Having a little bit of color in it and a darker color than I had before sort of, you know, blended it all together. But you can still see there's different tones, and this deck over here still looks a little different than this one over here. But it all looks better. Is it perfect? No. Were we going for perfect? No. And we have made it better. All right, gang, let's do the numbers. We've got about $250 in deck stain. This is a 650 square foot deck, and we bought high quality oil-based deck stain. That's 5 gallons for anyone not wanting to do math right now. That's fine. We spent about 20 bucks, not even 15 bucks on the applying devices. That mitt was $5 American and a huge win. Definitely made those railings a breeze and actually really helped on our stairs. So get yourself one. I'm telling you, it's better than any sprayer I've ever used. Time. Got roughly 3 hours in the cleaning, right? That's not that bad. I pressure washed it quick once, applied our cleaning chemistry, pressure washed it really well the next time, and let it dry. The drying part was really, really easy. And then applying the stain was roughly 2.5 hours. Very satisfying job, not hard work. You just turn on some rock and roll radio, make it a different color. I don't know, 5.5 hours, all in. It's easily a weekend project. I mean, the dry time is the only thing that's questionable. How long is it gonna take your deck to dry before you, because it does indeed need to be dry. All right, gang, I get it. This is kind of B- work, but it is more than enough to make the deck look a ton better, and it is indeed weather protected in the state that it's in for at least another couple of seasons. Now, if you're an honor student and deck maintenance is where you want to do your A-level work, do not let me stop you. Take it as far as you want. But I've got my suspicions that if you're watching this channel and you're watching this video and you've made it this far, you're more like me. That, you know, you want to get it done, but you want to do it without breaking your back, breaking the budget, and leave enough time, you know, in your weekend to actually enjoy your deck and maybe grill out or something. So the deck looks 1,000 times better. And we didn't break our backs, and we didn't break our budget, and we got done in time with plenty of daylight left to enjoy this beautiful weather and celebrate National Sausage Day. I mean, who can argue with that? I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Maybe it gave you some pointers or made you feel a little more at ease on how to approach your tired old deck. If so, please consider subscribing. It really does help the channel out. You can do it. You can make it better. Good luck on your projects out there. We'll see you next time.